Hello, hello, hello. I am your dynamic barber instructor, Miss Tiffany. Excuse the pixels. Um, I don't know what's going on with this device here, but this is your official orientation to barbering, okay? Orientation to barbering. So we're going to cover chapter 1, which is the history of barbering, chapter 2, life skills, and chapter 3, professional image. Hopefully we get through all of it. But what I wanted to do is just make sure that you know the technical terms for a few things in this part 1. So the objectives, again, we've already covered objectives, the chapter outline, and now we're in the book. I want you to get your new best friend, few highlighters, because we're going to highlight and pull out certain things in the history of barbering that you should be able to know why, study the history of barbering, understanding the history of barbering. That is what you're going to do. You're going to be able to trace the rise of barber surgeons. You're going to understand modern barbering organizations and state board. Consider the state of barbering today. So again, that is what this chapter is about. So we've already, by now you should have read through the chapter. From the intro, talking about barbering is one of the oldest professions in the world. Okay, so it has stood the test of time. And then if you go down to ancient cultures, I'm going to need you to highlight. Um, Architectural studies from around the world have shown that hair cutting and styling were practiced as early as the glacier age. The simple implements used then there were shaped from sharpened lint, oyster shells, bones. Also highlight that next sentence, animals, all the way down to culture. Okay. Then we're going to skip over to the next page, and you will see belief systems um, evaluated tribal barbers to positions of importance, such as medicine men, shamans, or priests. Okay, so again, you should have read through this text. I'm just helping you pull out the things to prepare for your testing. If you go down to the fifth paragraph, in there you'll see where it's talking about the word of barber um, is derived from the Latin word barba, meaning beard. Another word derived from Latin tonsural, L, tonsural, derived from tondro, meaning to shear, meaning the cutting, clipping, or trimming of hair with shears or a razor. Highlight that, highlight that. Clergymen of middle age were distinguished by their tonsure, a shaved patch on the crown of their head. Turn the page, and if you would, go down to the last paragraph, and it's talking about Peter the Great encouraged shaving by imposing the tax on beards. He encouraged shaving by imposing the tax on beards. Highlight that. Then let's go over to the next page. We're on page 11. But in 1163, at the Council of Tours, Pope Alexander III forbid the clergy to act as physicians and surgeons or to draw blood because to do this was contrary to Christian doctrine. Let's go down to second to the last paragraph. In 1540, Henry the Eighth recombined the barbers and surgeons of London through an act of preliminary by granting a charter to the Company of Barber Surgeons. All right, turn the page on page 12. We're in the passage where it says, finally, many Europeans had become so dependent upon the services of barber surgeons that Dutch and Swedish settlers brought barber surgeons with them to America to look after the well being of the colonists. Drop down under where it says the barber pole and highlight the symbol of the barber pole evolves from the technical procedure of bloodletting performed by the barber surgeon. Then underline or highlight the bottom end cap of the modern barber poles represents the basin that is used as a vessel to catch the blood during bloodletting. The white stripes on the pole stands for the bandages that were used to stop the bleeding and were hung on the staff to dry. You can underline or highlight that. You can use a different color. Also, go down one interpretation of the color of the barber pole is the red represents the blood, the blue represents the veins, the white represents the band-aids. You can underline or highlight that as well. Turn it down and get you a study book. Come on here. Infectious conditions. We're at the end of the second paragraph on page 14, and awareness of the importance of is down here. Get you 3 through 4. You can be right there. Awareness of the importance of cleaning practices in preventing disease became a widespread. That the terminal method system was enacted in 1960 in New York City. Highlight that. Moving over, highlight in 1920 in St. Paul, Minnesota. The National Association of State Board of the Barbering Examiners was created to solidify the qualifications required for a barber examination applicants and the methods of evaluation to be used. Finally, by 1929, the MBBA adopted the Barber Code of Ethics to promote professional responsibility in the trade and later published its own barbering textbook. Then go down and highlight National Association of Barber Boards of America, the NABBA. Drop down, highlight to develop standard and procedures for examining barbers and highlight to develop standards for licensing and policy in barber industry. Turn the page. Highlight some noteworthy improvements to barbering over the past century included the following: implementation of regulatory and educational standards. Drop down and highlight the 1940s and 1950s represented the heyday for American barbers, American barbershops, with many men visiting their neighborhood shops every 2 weeks to maintain a clean cut appearance. Um, Drop down and highlight barber services. Drop down and highlight required to cut longer hair were more readily found with hairstylists. Barbershop culture itself also became less attractive to younger generation of men associated itself with the controversies of parents' generation. Next page, first paragraph, highlight on the other end of the spectrum, full service salons, spas rocketed in the population in the 1990s. drawing even more men away from barbershops. The year 2010 saw a massive return of the beards and the beard designs on young men, accompanied by a concern for facial grooming as a part of large interest in cultivating personal style that includes hair, body art, clothing, and more. I like that. Now we're moving on to chapter 2, which is life skills. Again, we already covered the objectives. We already went over the review. So I want you to understand while good technical skills are extremely important in mastering and learning and applying, sound life skills is just as important. Barbering is a creative profession where you are expected to exercise your artistic talent to be successful in the barbershop environment. You need to have well developed communication, decision making, image building, customer service, self actualization, goal setting, time management skills. These life skills are the foundation of success for students and professionals. In addition, developing effective study skills will help you achieve your educational and professional goals. All right, so let's drop down where it says some of the most important life skills you need to remember and practice include the following: highlight being helpful and caring to others, and highlight approaching work with a strong sense of responsibility. All are important. We're highlighting what is expected to be on the test, so we're making certain things stand out, pop out to you as you study. Next page. The process of self actualization, fulfilling one's full potential, requires long life commitment. All right, we're going to drop down. Number one, procrastination. Procrastination is putting off until tomorrow to do what you can do today. Highlight that. Next page, we're going to go down to the second half of the page, and it says the mission often becomes more than just a statement. It becomes the cultural pulse for an organization. Highlight that. Create a mission statement by beginning with your interests. Highlight that. Goal setting is the identification of long-term and short-term goals. Under how goal setting works, let's go to highlight when setting goals, categorize them based on the amount of time it takes to accomplish the goals. Right, turn the page. Never take on more than you can handle. Learn to say no firmly but kindly and mean it. Highlight that. Next page. Do not neglect physical activity. Remember, exercise and recreation stimulate clear thinking. Also, highlight understand the value of the to do list for the day and the week. These lists help prioritize tasks and activity, a key element to organizing time effectively. Page. Highlight if a new topic is particularly overwhelming, categorize the information into smaller segments. For example, rather than trying to learn all layers of the skin at one time, study and learn about one skin division. And highlight acronyms are created by using the first letters in the series of words. The, the example were right there, in figure 2-9. For example, the functions on the skin can be remembered by using the words shapes, sensation, heat, absorption, protection, excretion, and secretion. Shapes is a particular good acronym to use because the skin also gives shape to the body. Make sure you highlight that. Page 34, use keywords or phrases to identify the main points. Next page, highlight, avoid sharing clients' private matter with others, even your closest friends. Professional ethics, go under and highlight integrity. Maintain your integrity by aligning your behavior and actions to your values. Turn the page, discretion, highlight discretion. Do not share your personal issues with clients. Likewise, never breach confidentiality by repeating personal information that clients have shared with you. Drop down, go to diplomacy. Being aggressive is good. Being assertive is good because it helps people understand your position. All right, emotional stability, learning how to handle a confrontation and how to share your feelings in a professional manner is important to build emotional stability and control. Okay, highlight that. And that is the end right there of chapter 2. Now we're moving into chapter 3, which is professional image. Turn to page 48. Talk less, listen more, highlighted. Emotional control, highlighted. Positive approach, highlighted. Good manners, highlighted. Mannerism, highlighted. Drop down, effective communication is the act of successfully sharing information between two people or groups of people, highlight it. And highlight social media. So that has been your orientation to barbering. Make sure you're just applying yourself, studying. These are things that needs to pop out to you. And don't hesitate to go over the review questions. Don't hesitate to get familiar with the terminologies. You got the glossary, you got the words that tell you the page where you can go look back at it. Read, read, read. Theory is important. These are your theory broken down per hour. So again, you should have already read the chapter. Now this is what you will highlight. If you are looking at this and you don't have a highlighter, go and get your highlighter. Go and get your highlighter. Get plenty colors. Get your favorite colors and begin to highlight. So that way you can be able to retain the information so you can be an amazing barber, the barber that you desire to be, a professional barber that is serious about their business, their education, and what they're doing with their clients. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed your lessons today and I didn't keep you too long. I am your dynamic barber instructor, Miss Tiffany. Talk to you later.